What's up everybody, Kinetic here and welcome back to Dragon Age Inquisition. I'm back with another specialization, this time taking a look at the Warrior Templar. This came with quite a few requests early on when I asked about this in my previous Warrior specialization build for the Reaver. There were quite a few people early on that wanted to see Templar, so I decided to go ahead and do this one. Also, I found this to be a really interesting class. I couldn't quite understand what exactly its role was supposed to be within the party, but I quickly learned, and over the course of that exploration, I changed this build concept quite a bit. Originally, I kind of thought of a Templar as being a sword and shield type of class, and that's how I built it originally. It was a sword and shield Cassandra, and she was going around doing things very much like a tank and stuff like that. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized it was totally unnecessary for her to also be a tank. So I dropped the sword and shield and I just completely started from scratch with my ideas of what should I do for a Templar then. And then the obvious alternative to a sword and shield would be, of course, a two-hand wielding type of warrior. And I thought, you know what, this is actually going to be a lot more interesting. And it really has, all the way up into the point of me kind of finalizing it after testing and stuff like that. I found that this is one of the more interesting warriors to play. Let's take a look at the Templar tree here and what I've decided to go for. You might notice that there's about almost half of the active and passive skills here that I didn't take, and the big reason for that is because there's a lot of stuff in other trees that I felt were more useful to this build than going for these others on this left-hand side. But first of all, we've got Blessed Blades, an active skill. You rally all your nearby allies to fight greater strength, especially when facing demons. That's going to be kind of a common thing with the Templar, is that they're very powerful against demons. And you will see that here in this video. It's actually insane how much greater power you have to do Fade Rifts and things like that, having a Templar in your party. So we get a damage bonus of 15%, a duration for 24 seconds, and it has a shorter cooldown than its duration, so you can guarantee that it's going to be ready before it expires. Costs only 10 stamina, very cheap. It's got a nice upgrade, Lights in the Shadow. Attacking enemies while you are affected by Blessed Blades reduces the cooldown times of Spell Purge and Wrath of Heaven. Spell Purge is this ability over here. Through Faith of Will, you dispel all magic from the area around you, very much like Dispel, really, from the Mage. But it's important to get this because whether you take the Spell Purge or not, the cooldown reduction for Wrath of Heaven is really nice, and we'll see that here pretty soon. Here's the first passive I took, Maker's Will. Your party attacks have a chance to weaken their targets. Weaken chance 5%, weaken duration 6 seconds. Down here we've got There is no darkness. Your faith is your protection against the elements and not for you alone. The entire party gains increased resistance to fire, ice, electric, and spirit damage. Increased damage resistance 10%. Not bad. I would have honestly liked to see a little bit more generous resistance than 10%, but it is what it is. Here is the most awesome skill by far for the Templar, and just is absolutely amazing for closing rifts. Wrath of Heaven. You summon a blinding pillar of light that stuns nearby enemies and damages demons. So for non-demons, this will simply stun them for 6 seconds. If they are demons, then you will deal 700% weapon damage, which is pretty sweet. Stun duration of 6 seconds in an area of effect of about 4 meters. This has a great upgrade also, Embrace the Light. Wrath of Heaven deals even more damage to demons and leaves enemies stunned longer. So we get another 300% weapon damage bonus by taking this. Also an increase of 2-second stun duration. So we're talking 1,000 weapon damage there. That's really nice. I do take the focus ability for this, Rally. You inspire your allies to fight harder. Your party's guard, stamina, and mana build up over time, and all party members gain damage resistance against incoming attacks. This is a really nice focus, I think. You gain, for example, from the tier 3 levels 30% guard generation and stamina mana regeneration per second. 30% damage resistance for a duration of 15 seconds. This can be a huge way to turn the tide of battle, or even if you realize that you're about to get into some deep shit, then Rally can really be a great way to just prepare everybody for what is going to be a bloody battle. And this skill will ensure that the blood is being spilled on your opponent's side. Alright, let's take a look at the other skills that I put together for this two-hand Templar. Even though I did say that this version should probably play like a little bit more defensively, there is also a very good offense that can help you in a defensive way, if you know what I'm saying. Just ways that you can slam and control, stun, and things like that are a great way to also protect your two-hand Templar. So we go with the always useful block and slash. You guys have seen me talk about this before. This never gets old. I'll probably add it to every single two-hand warrior build I possibly can. I love this skill. It's amazing. And with the upgrade, you also get a little bit of guard. This really isn't necessary, but the damage bonus is pretty decent. I mean, it's decent. Anyway, so we also are going to, of course, go with Flow of Battle. Every critical hit reduces the cooldown times on your abilities, giving you the edge to finish off your enemies. And finally, for the first time in my warrior builds, I've taken Pommel Strike. You lash out with a fast strike that briefly stuns your target. So this is going to do 300% weapon damage, stun duration of 3 seconds, and it's got a fairly decent cooldown and stamina cost. This can be actually pretty good, especially if some major badass is trying to beat down your Templar. Then this is a way that you can ensure that you can stun them before they actually have a chance to even do that. From the right side, we're going to take Mighty Blow, which is kind of like Pommel Strike in its own way, but I think it's even better because it can knock down a lot of enemies in just a single hit. We've got the upgrade, Easy Target. Mighty Blow costs less stamina and deals increased damage against targets that have been knocked down. Now, this is all going to work really nicely with Grappling Chain. With a hook chain and a lot of muscle, you drag your target into arm's reach, plus the upgrade give them the boot. 200% increased weapon damage, and you're also going to knock down and stun them for 3 seconds. So you can see, and many of you already know this combination very well, you're going to pull them in with Grappling Chain, deliver the Mighty Blow after that, and deal tons of damage. To the right of Mighty Blow, we've got Shield Breaker, critical hits, crack armor, and rend shield, sundering your enemy's armor for a short time. Armor reduction of 20% for 6 seconds. Let's go over there back to that Battlemaster. I've already talked about Grappling Chain and why we're pretty much taking that. I mean, aside from the amazing combination with Mighty Blow, again, I always think that one of the best ways that you can use the skill is to help your ranged fighters. If they're being harassed or something like that, be sure to throw out that Grappling Chain and bring them over to you, bring them over to your tank or something like that. Be sure to cover your ranged fighters. Over here, Crippling Blows. You know how to take the fight out of your foes. Your critical hits leave enemies weakened. Damage reduction 15% for 10 seconds. And this passive right here is going to make that Grappling Chain and Mighty Blow combination even more amazing. You deal more damage against enemies that are stunned or knocked down. Better them than you. 30% increased damage bonus against stunned or knocked down enemies, and that's kind of what a lot of what I've put into this Templar build especially, is stuff that just is a little bit more controlling and kind of takes the enemies out of the fight. And on the opposite side of that, I'm also trying to play this Templar as kind of like a buff class, a support warrior, if you will, in a way. So of course I'm going to bring Horn of Valor. Your Warhorn's blast rings across the battlefield, giving allies the strength to fight harder. This is going to give you an increased damage bonus of 15%, 15% armor bonus for 10 seconds, and it's only got a cooldown of 16.2 seconds. Combine that with your critical hits from the two-hand side, to reduce the cooldown times on abilities, you probably won't be waiting long to do another ability like Horn of Valor. I take the upgrade for this as well, that's the Spirit. Your Horn's Blast call your allies to even greater glory, increased damage bonus 35%. Whether you play as a Sword and Shield or a two-hand Templar, I think that there is quite a bit of fun to be had. It's just a shame that it feels so dependent on pulling from the other trees to make it more interesting and to feel more powerful. The specialization itself just, to me, it seems very lackluster. Aside from the amazing boon that it brings to, for example, closing rifts and stuff like that, I feel like there's still a lot to be desired from. But when it's all said and done, I'm actually having a lot of fun playing with this class, and I think that this is going to be something great for putting onto Cassandra and bringing her to your party. Let's take a look now at a couple quick examples of the Templar specialization in action.
One less to worry about.
Thanks for watching this video on my two-hand Templar build here in Dragon Age Inquisition. Coming up next, I will be doing a dual dagger assassination build. This is probably the next in line for most requested, and I'll follow up with whichever I feel is the most in-demand specialization. So let me know in the comments what you think about this build, and also what you would like to see after the assassin build, and I'll keep that in mind as I'm putting these specialization builds together. Click the like button to support these Dragon Age Inquisition videos, and stay subscribed because more is coming up. Thanks again for watching. My name is Kinetic, and I'll see you next time.